to him. You could be a Bradley's baddie too. You could be a Bradley's baddie too. So join Jovan and get your critical cap on. 'Cause there's a Bradley's baddie inside of me and you.
Y'all, did Donald Trump fucking give head to Bill Clinton? Hi, welcome to stream. Holy shit. What a crazy couple of days for me to not be on. Did Donald Trump fucking blow Bill Clinton? So many things make sense if this is true. I know it's probably not true. I know most likely it's just like two brothers who are like shit talking and blah, blah, blah. But if it were true, it would explain why he hated Hillary so much. She was with his man. Y'all know, I mean, there's a reason they named it the Big Beautiful Bill. What a crazy fucking turn of events those Epstein emails were. You didn't think we'd ever find out Trump was DL? It don't shock me. TBH if we're being honest. Just what a world. What are the odds? What are the odds? I had to sneeze and it's gone. Okay. Welcome to stream. We're here to debate. I don't know how long I'll be on today, but I'll be on long enough to take some calls. I'm gonna slightly switch up the God topic. I want to keep having it, but I'm gonna go. Yeah. There's no reason to believe in Christianity. That's what I want it to be for now. Two LGBT presidents! Topic 7. Do we think Trump gagged on it? Oh shit, dude.
You are connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
It's just kind of crazy, right? Did Trump spit or swallow is wild. Now we know why you're so smug on. What? Listen, you want to know my actual theory? Here's my theory. Monica Lewinsky wasn't the one doing it. She was the fall guy. Monica Lewinsky was the fall guy. It was actually Trump I already did upload that. I uploaded that yesterday. Your mom proud. She know this is your job. Hold on, let me find out. Mom! Mother! Are you proud of me? She said, of course. Thanks. I would hope so. I was able to move her across country and let her live with me for free. I hope she's fucking proud of me. Ugh. What should I Google to find out about the Bill Clinton Trump thing? Just Google Trump and Bubba. Trump and Bubba. Horizontal stream is on Twitch. Vertical stream is on YouTube. Still living at home. No, my mother lives with me. I was in this house first. Then when my mom needed to move because her landlord was selling her home, I, like a good son, said, well, you can move into my spare room, Mom. What else should I have said? No. You know what we just found out? Chris in YouTube chat would have let his mom be homeless. That's crazy. You're a terrible son, Chris. Yeah, what was I gonna do? Let my mom and my elderly grandmother like freeze in New York? I said, no, you guys can move down to Florida. I'll move you down to Florida. You can stay with me. Woke garbage. You're just mad that your president sucked Bill Clinton's dick. Bro, y'all got nothing to say no more. You guys will not see power again for a long time. It's fine. Video's not members only. It's uploaded. I know, because I got a bunch of comments on it yesterday. It's called like you won't believe how this Christian debate ends hilariously or something like that. Says the dude with cat ears. Rather have cat ears than Bill Clinton's dick in my mouth. Yo, you guys are cooked. There's no coming back. You guys are cooked. There's no coming back from this, bro. Just accept defeat at this point. Your president gave sloppy dome to Bill Clinton. How do you come back from that? Like, he couldn't have picked nobody else? Bill Clinton? Why is that the person we cared about? No, that debate was with some guy named Sean. No, that was B. I literally clipped the video today. I promise you, because I literally just posted a clip from that debate on Instagram and TikTok and everything. I promise you. Instagram doesn't let me see all the comments on my Instagram posts anymore. It's annoying. Someone needs to make a porn parody of me gargling Clinton. The gargle. Why are you wearing cat ears? Why did Donald Trump blow Bill Clinton? Who knows why anyone does anything, right? Bro, you're cooked. You guys are cooked. Trump accomplishments just keep stacking up. Yep. Accomplishments like Gluck Gluck and Bill Clinton. You guys wouldn't suck Bill's dick. He's not my type. If I have to suck a dick, it's not gonna be Bill Clinton's. Is Pillow screening? Someone's in the screening room, so I assume it's Pillow. How is South Park so prophetic? I don't know, dude. It's just so funny. Oh, before I forget, shout out to King Puff, Blue Pen, Purple Pen, and Brit Bijou for our B-Tit Bijou for getting first on the Twitch chat today. And I do see we got a birthday. So let me hit a birthday real quick, birthday real quick with a birthday. I'm a birthday party with a birthday, with a birthday, with a birthday.
You could be a birthday baddie too. A very happy baddie birthday to you.
I'm a pedophile. Donald Trump sucked Bill Clinton's dick. Miss me with that shit. Miss me with that shit, bro. I was the best head. I gave the best head. Some people said it was the best head. Scientists studied this head, the Gluck Glucky 9000. The Clinton. Jesus. God, I have been studying up so much on theology, Jess. Like, there's so much I didn't know. So like there's so many things now that I let go in the past. Like when people are like, 500 people saw Jesus Christ, and now I'm like, no, they fucking didn't. You can't prove that shit. There's literally no evidence of that. Like stuff that I just didn't know was like just so many people took as blatant fact that I just like allowed as blatant fact. Nah, I ain't fucking with that shit no more. Call everything into question. How fast did he go? Over 9,000. You think he bragged about it? Bro, why? Yeah, this is you who's about to slap. Why else would he have been so mad at Clinton, at Hillary? It makes so much sense now. He was fucking jealous. Y'all see the way he treats Melania? You think Clinton was playing the sax the whole time? Like, that should be hilarious. Anyway, if you want to call and tell me that why you think it's okay that Trump blew Bubba, calling nine's on. Calling. Bro, I can't get through it, seriously. Man, this shit slapped. But I drink Yoo-Hoos really fast because Yoo-Hoos, the second they get warm, are the nastiest drink on the planet. But when they're ice cold, I tell you what. Donica Lewinsky is so fucking funny. Donica Lewinsky might be the funniest thing I've read all day. It was the slappiest of tap. The slappiest of tappy to ever tappy the slappy tap. I've been behind on news. Trump did what to who? According to Mark Epstein, in an email he sent to his brother Jeffrey Epstein, Russia has pictures of Trump blowing Bill Clinton. I don't make the rules. I'm just letting you know what was in the emails. Thank y'all for the super chats. We will read them at the end of stream. Ozdawalosi, thank you for the bits over on Twitch. Bubba Gate is so fucking funny. Donica Lewinsky might be the funniest one I've heard so far. Thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Like, Donica Lewinsky is so good. It just sucks. Russia has the ability to do the funniest shit right now. They're not going to, but they have the ability to just fucking do the funniest. You know what's crazy? I was in a TikTok live yesterday, and there's this Trump supporter who was so devastated by this news, bro. He was like, I'm not wearing my MAGA hat today. I was like, bro, all the shit Trump has done and him consensually blowing Bill Clinton is the thing that makes you want to divorce MAGA? That's fucking embarrassing. But if you want to debate about any of the topics, should I go through the topics? Let's go through the topics real quick so you guys know what the topics are. Topic number 1, MAGA is a fascist movement. And, you know, apparently MAGA is also part of the alphabet mafia. So that's cool. We're going to add M. LGBTQIA plus M. Bro, oh my God, the jokes write themselves, dude. Number 2, there's no reason to believe in Christianity. Number 3, systemic racism is real. Number 4, why do you still support Donald Trump, especially after the news? Number 5, trans men and women are men and women. And number 6, pro-choice. I'm super woke. I welcome in all members of the alphabet mafia, except for maybe Donald Trump. I think maybe it's okay to be homophobic to Donald Trump. And also, the audio is weird. How's the audio sound for everybody else? Sound pretty good? Sound bad? The only reason that you're probably not going to see me add the Donald Trump blowing Bill Clinton thing to the board is because I know it's most likely not real. In terms of like, it's probably just like 2 people making a joke in the emails, but goddamn, is it funny to fucking talk about? Gays for Trump must be having a field day. Gays for Trump must be going crazy right now. Must be getting ready to do tricks on it, bro. Bro. What is that? Oh. I finished most of my living decks in Pokemon Legends ZA. So now I'm trying to get all the alphas. Taco stands for Trump ate cock often is crazy. This is going to be my new joke for the rest of fucking forever. I mean, bro, you gave Glucky Glucky to Bill Clinton. What do you expect? I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I did, however, have sexual relations with that man. All right, all right, all right. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Bro, alpha hunting is a thankless fucking job, dude. Swear to God. I'm gonna die. Damn, we got no calls today. MAGA is really hiding, bro. They're so terrified. They're like, we can't call. They're like, well, I don't know what they want us to do. We can't do anything. If we call, we have to admit it. Did they leave their socks on? Chill. Chill, squad. Chill. Chill, 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 chill. Oh my God, don't run. Don't run. I want your Pokemon. Don't run. It's also 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Yeah, perfect time for MAGA to get off their reesters. Reesters? The fuck did that mean? My bad, squad. Apparently, I'm the stupid one today. I think I meant to say rears and keisters, and instead I said reesters. Reesters are the plural of rooster. You get one rooster or 20 reesters. Deep Throat Dawn. Oh God. Ew, I hate when Pokemon use dig. Don't use dig, you punk. Yo, thank you for the sub on Twitch. Who is that? Shout out to Firehawk for subbing for their 36th month. The day of the emails, we got nothing. Thank you for the super chats, guys. We are going to read all the super chats at the end of stream, so keep them coming. Especially if you got super chats that mock Donald Trump. Bring those super chats to me. Yo, we're gonna have a no call day. That's amazing. Twitch isn't giving me notifications when you go live anymore. Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. Mag isn't hiding everywhere. I mean, wouldn't you be? If your homie gave the gluck gluck to Billy Bo. What's Trump's presidential number? 45 and 47. What was Bill Clinton's? Bill Clinton would have been 42. Can we say like 45 gets down for 42? No, we should just be posting like 45x42. Or 47, I guess would be funnier. 47x42, just posting that in random MAGA videos. (47x42) 47.842 is so fucking funny. Yeah, no, that's the one. 47.842 is the one, bro. That's our code. That's our new code to talk about Don the Leprechaun. 47.842. Shit, I love that so much. Y'all really nailed it with that one. Like Trump nailed Clinton. Ayo. Ayo. No longer a teacher. I don't know. 47.842 in the chat. God bless all the 47.842. Yeah, the one thing we know about Clinton is he is consistently atop. Yo, thank you for the gifted subs over on Twitch. Who was that from? Frostymus, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Firefly, thank you for resubbing with your Amazon Prime. And the Cynical One, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. MAGA is terrified today. If you have a MAGA friend or enemy, send this live to them. Tell them, hey, yo, MAGA, we hear you're not afraid of your beliefs. Don't be scared. Argue with a leftist. Don't be scared. Argue with a leftist. Man, it's gonna be crazy though if we don't get any calls today. I mean, it is what it is, but boy howdy. No, I'm gonna be honest. Trump blowing Bill Clinton, a lot of things make more sense when you imagine that this is real life, right? A lot of things make more sense. Oh, that Bill Clinton wanted the files released. It makes more sense now. He wanted people to know. He said, I need them all to know. He's my big, beautiful Bill. The billiest. The big, beautiful billiest. I said, Melania, I don't want you. I want my big, beautiful Bill. Sucks that it's too late to change that name. All the MAGA runaway scared. I'd love some theists. God damn, can we get a theism debate? I'd love a theism debate. Y'all know how I feel about that. Slaw on my nut, like corn on the cup. Alexa, play MAGA's Terrified. Wait. Alexa's like, I don't see that. I forgot I have an Alexa in this room. Never mind, Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. It just might be too early for MAGA. You know they like to sleep in. You know, they spend all night on their knees for daddy. He spends all his nights on his knees for Clinton. Dude, what should my Pokemon team ultimately be in this game? Like I right now it's Emboar, Tyranitar, Blastoise, Gyarados, Gloomy because I'm trying to evolve it, and then a second Emboar that I'm trying to get to level 100 to replace my current Emboar because it's an alpha. All my Pokemon are alphas, by the way. What's happening? This don't feel real. This isn't there wasn't a raid. I didn't get a raid notification. No. I don't think this is real. I think I got bot rated. Possibly. I'm not sure. I can't tell. Yeah, when there's no raid notification, you can pretty much just assume. Also, the fact that like, no. Yeah, you can get bot rated on Twitch all the time. Especially because none of them are saying anything else past that, yeah. It's not my birthday, but I have 37k points. You're not supposed to do it if it's not your birthday, Hunter. Yeah, no, it was absolutely a bot raid. MAGA's so mad that they got the gluck gluck that they had to hit with the bot raid. We're gonna run into sub only for a little while just to make sure. What's crazy is a lot of these accounts look legit, like with the created date. Some of them are very clearly AI accounts, but some of them look like yeah, it was definitely a bot raid. Look, I love Kai Cenat. I watch his shit all the time, but that was very clearly a bot raid. Like, so we're gonna put actually, isn't there a way to thank you, K-Space. Isn't there a way to get rid of like all people who followed at a certain time? When did those messages start coming so I can? When did they start coming like Donald Trump and Bill Clinton? Hey, yo! Yo, MAG is never living this shit down, dude. They are never living this shit down, bro. Are they scared to call? Yeah, they don't want to have to defend the fact that their guy gave the Gluck Gluck 9000 to Bill Clinton. You know my biggest clue it was a bot raid? The fact that Kai Cenat wasn't even live when I went live. That's your biggest clue. Weird to do a bot raid at 10 a.m. when the person's not live. What happened with Trump and Clinton? Nobody do anything weird with what I just did. Don't clip that. Prove this, Gluck Gluck. No, I'm going to take the position of Christians. You prove it didn't happen. You prove the Gluck Gluck didn't happen. Turtle Duchess, thank you for subbing. Winnie Rose, thank you for resubscribing. Thanks, Winnie. Yeah, I'm going to take the Christian position. You prove to me it didn't happen. Someone in the chat said, Jovan's a registered pedophile. Sure, dog. Sure. No, yeah, no, they have to prove it didn't happen. That's my stance on the Gluck Gluck 9000. Prove Trump didn't go full Lewinsky. Prove he didn't do it. Innocent before proven guilty. Say that to all the people in the fucking Venezuelan boats he blew up. Say that to all the ICE fucking raids that have been going on. Nah, he did it. Prove to me he didn't. If you can't prove he didn't do it, nope. You should put that as a topic on the board. Prove he didn't do it. That'd be fucking hilarious. Prove Trump didn't blow Bubba. I'm telling you, Donica Lewinsky is the funniest thing I've read all day. That's, I think, my favorite of the jokes. Donica Lewinsky. No, dead ass. Trump's got to watch himself with Putin. Progressive Alien, thank you for the gifted sub, and thank you for resubscribing with your Amazon Prime over on Twitch. Oh my god, sometimes the alphas it gives you are fucking garbage. Trump is for sure a con man, you know? Guys, I don't know. 500 people saw Donald Trump give Bill Clinton the sloppy toppy, so it must be real. 500 people saw Trump rise from... Why is there a Shelder statue, but no Shelders in this game? That's kind of weird. 500 people watched as Donald Trump on a mountaintop gave Bill Clinton the sloppiest top. All right, looks like we finally have a caller today. Finally, we can get something cooking here. Let's bring up, coming into the show, we have John. John doesn't think trans men and women are men and women, so we will see how John defends that. John, if you can hear me, can you provide me your age and pronouns, please? John.
28. Can you hear me? 28?
Yeah, I can hear you.
28, and I'm a man.
Okay. 28. And so what are your pronouns, John?
Can you figure it out from me telling you I'm a man?
No, I asked you a direct question. I'd like a direct answer.
You can just call me John.
That's not an answer to my question. My question was not, do you want me to call you pronouns? It was, what are your pronouns?
Most reasonable people use he, him.
Oh, okay. Great. 45 seconds of my life I'm not getting back, John. Now, John, you don't think trans men and women are men and women. What is a man then, and what is a woman?
Well, I was going to ask you that since the prompt is up. It's your claim, right?
Yeah, it would be my claim.
Can you define them for me?
Sure. A man is an adult human whose gender identity aligns with his personal schema on the male sex, and a woman would be an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their schema on the female sex.
Okay, can
What do you
define
think they
trans
are?
men for me?
A trans man would be a man whose gender identity does not align with the sex that he was assigned at birth. And a trans woman would be a woman whose gender identity does not align with her prescribed sex at birth.
Okay, so you agree. Let's just stick with the male side. You agree? You just gave me two different definitions for man and trans man, right?
I gave you a definition for man, and then I gave you a more detailed definition for trans man, since it is a lower, like it is a further down category of man. Just like I would give you a different definition if you told me to define man and black man, I would give a different definition for black man than man, because you put a qualifier on it of trans and or black.
Okay, and does the qualifier modify the word?
Yep, adjectives tend to modify words. Yeah. It's the point
Okay,
of it's the point of an adjective.
Well, it's not really an adjective. It's a noun.
No, trans is not a noun. It's an adjective.
Okay. So anyway, you gave me two different definitions, right?
Yep, one for man and one for trans man. Yep, so they would need two different definitions
so
as they're two different concepts.
They're two different things, right? Debate over. You conceded.
What is your definition of man?
I don't need to. You don't need to know
What's your definition of man, John? What's your definition of man? John, you didn't attack my claim well, and I'm going to demonstrate how you didn't attack my claim well with a direct. John, what's your definition of man?
It doesn't matter. I'm not here to
here.
have my.
I'll actually make it even simpler, John. Give me a definition of car.
Why would I do that? No, thanks. I've already.
So you're incapable, John. Are you incapable, John? Are you incapable of engaging in a conversation intellectually and honestly?
I'm very capable of it, but that's not
okay.
Why
So then, John, I'm gonna mute you. So what John did is called it's a very bad faith argument. Of course, I gave a different definition for trans man than I did man, but I don't think he was listening to the definitions because I prefaced the beginning of my definition of trans man with a man who X. So baked into my definition of trans man, I affirm that they are men. Now, John, who is intellectually dishonest and incapable of a real conversation, must not have heard that because he's on a script. Now, I would love to know if John is able to get off the script and have an honest conversation, but if John is not able to get off the script and have an honest conversation, then I guess we can all just point and laugh at John. Now, John, are you able to get off the script and have an honest conversation or no?
Dude, not the mute.
John, are you able to get off the script and have an honest conversation or no?
I would just, we can move on to a different one.
John, are you able to get off the script and have an honest conversation, yes or no?
Script. What are you talking
Great.
about?
So my question again is, can you define man for me? Can you define man for me, John?
I won't use the script if you won't use the
John,
mute button.
can you define man for me, John? That's the question that you have posed to you right now.
Five's already
so you are going to be muted again because you are incapable of engaging in this conversation honestly. I'm willing to unmute you and continue the conversation, but I've asked you a question now multiple times. I'd like an answer, right? You claim that, oh, well, I won because your definition of man and trans men are different. So let's test this theory, John. Let's test and see how, I mean, first of all, it's a really poor argument, but let's test this, John. Can you provide me a definition of man? Yes or no?
Sure, I'll do it for you.
Great. What's the definition?
A man is someone who is born with a reproductive system that is biologically aligns with being a man.
Great. Now, what's a definition for black man?
That's a way to refer to, a man who has, I guess you could say, black skin,
well, those definitions are different, so I guess black men aren't actually men, are they, John?
They're different categories, though.
I guess black men are not men, though, are they, John? Because you gave two different definitions, John. So I guess, per your earlier logic,
wait.
Black men are not men, are they, John?
If the black man is born with
no, John, your earlier logic was that because my definitions for trans man and man were different. John, if I have to replay the tape, I will. If I have to replay the tape, I will. Do I need to replay the tape, John, when you specifically said, see how those are different? Do I need to replay the tape, John? Now, you just gave two different definitions. Why did you give two different definitions?
Because they're different. The original definitions you provided are mutually exclusive.
No, they are not. What were my original definitions? Repeat them back to me.
One is that a man is an adult male who transitioned to an adult male, and one is just an adult male.
Incorrect. So you don't even know what my definitions were. So maybe instead of trying to gotcha, you actually instead go, hey, Jovan, I didn't actually understand your definitions. Can you repeat them to me? Because clearly I don't have the mental capability of listening for more than 5 seconds. I'll repeat them because I will repeat them. I will repeat them because you were incapable of hearing. Everybody who listens to me regularly knows that that's not what my definition is because they know what my definition is because I say it all the time. So my definition of man would be an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their personal schema on the male sex. And then my definition of trans man would be a man whose gender identity does not align with the sex they were prescribed at birth. These are two different definitions because they talk about two different things. But one affirms, the trans man definition affirms in the beginning of the definition that they are men. Now, John, if you'd like to come up with a different gotcha that actually works, I'm more than willing to fall for a trap if you've got one. But so far, the only gotcha that you tried to provide showed that you are incapable of having a logical conversation.
Yeah, that's not true at all. I've already demonstrated that.
You didn't demonstrate shit, John.
Yeah, I did.
John, explain to me what my definitions mean, and then substantiate how my two definitions make it so that trans men would not be men.
First of all, I don't think they mean really anything, and I think you just spewed a bunch of
I don't think you don't. I know it's so that proves to me that it's not that you don't think they mean anything. You don't know what they mean. You don't know what the words I use mean, do you?
I know what the words you used mean, I believe.
What's a schema, John?
Schema would be some sort of combination of schemes, something like that.
Nope. So again, you didn't know what the words I used meant, and now you're trying to like analyze my definition without knowing what the words in my definition mean, John. Kind of embarrassing for you. No, it is far off. It's not at all what schema means. It's a representation
of a plan or theory in form of an outline or model.
Oh, you got to Google it. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Why is that embarrassing?
Because you said you knew what the words mean, but you didn't. You had to actually Google it because you didn't know what the words mean. It wouldn't be embarrassing if you just said, hey, if you had just said, hey, I don't know what this word means, so I'm going to Google it. That wouldn't have been embarrassing. I'd have been like, okay, great. Thank you for being honest and admitting that you don't know something and looking it up. Instead, you said, I don't know it. Or instead you said, I do know it. And then you had to look it up because you couldn't figure it out.
Well, I couldn't give you the exact definition of it.
You didn't give me an accurate definition at all, especially not in the context of the way I used the word.
Pretty close, actually.
It wasn't actually.
And I think it actually completely.
Fine. Demonstrate schema in relation to the definition I gave you. Demonstrate what I mean by schema. What do I mean by it? Yep. I'll repeat it again so you can type it into ChatGPT. An adult human whose gender identity aligns with their personal schema on the female sex or on the male sex. That would be the way I define woman or man.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that definition makes any sense, but I think what you're saying is that somehow I think you said gender identity, so somehow that. You
think? You didn't listen to 3 times that I said the definition? You think? Oh, okay.
No, I've heard it. It's a lot of nonsense, so it's hard to retain it all.
It must be hard to retain for you. What must have? Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, good one. So I think you're just saying that their identity is somehow represented and manifests in being male or female.
No.
However, that makes sense.
Nope. It makes sense that you didn't understand it. You proved to us that you didn't understand it, and instead of asking, you just kept operating under the guise that you did understand it. But no, you didn't. That's kind of funny for you.
I don't think your definition could be understood, to be honest.
I think plenty of people understand my definition, especially people that understand schema, especially in the psychological sense. Schema is just really quickly, just so I can break some stuff down for you. Schema is a term used in psychology all the goddamn time. It's a common psychological thing that happens with our brain. So anybody who's taken even a fucking beginner's level psych course understands my definition. And then the people that I explain the definition to tend to understand. It's just the difference between you and them is they say at the top, hey, I didn't understand the definition. Can you explain it to me? You said, ooh, let me put him in a gotcha by showing that his two definitions are different. Yeah, because you asked me to define two different things. You asked me to define a man, then you asked me to define a further category of man, which is trans man. Just like when you defined man and black man, you gave two different definitions, John. So per your logic, you don't think black men are men. Otherwise, you would have given the same definition.
No, because they're not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Wow, just like trans men and men are not mutually exclusive, John. Hence, from when I used the definition of trans men, I said a man. I started my definition with that because they're folded into the category of man. John, you are very bad at this. I feel like you can do better, but you might not be able to do better. You are, and I'm just going to be so honest. It's going to be embarrassing for you when I post this video because everybody's going to hear you making really terrible arguments. Now, I would love it if you could provide a good argument. I love good arguments. Good arguments are my bread and butter. Can you provide a good argument against my definitions?
I already did.
You didn't. Just saying your definitions don't make sense is not a good argument. You didn't demonstrate how they don't make sense.
Right,
you didn't demonstrate any of that. Can you demonstrate them?
Do you want to attack my definitions then, since we already finished up with yours?
We didn't finish up with mine. You weren't incapable, unless you want to concede that you were incapable of having a good argument against my definition.
No, I think I'm not the one who needs to concede.
Okay, great. So if you think you have a good argument against my definition, make the argument. Make a case. You can't just say it's bad. No, all you said was it's bad. That's not a case. All you said was it's bad, John. That's not an argument. Can you make an actual argument? Is it capable? Are you capable of that? Are you capable of making an actual argument?
We've already done this.
Are you capable of making an actual argument, John? I'm just wondering. If you're not, just admit that you're not capable of making an actual argument.
Oh, I'm very capable. And
saying that definition doesn't make sense is not an argument. Demonstrate why it doesn't make sense per the words I use and the concepts that I talk about in the definition. Actually demonstrate it, John. You have to demonstrate these things. You can't just say words and expect no, you didn't. It's embarrassing for you. I'm totally fine in sitting back and listening to the entirety of the first 12 minutes of this conversation to show you that you didn't demonstrate the faults in my definition. You are just saying something. Unfortunately, John, that shit don't fly here. Now, I want to believe you're a smarter person than this. You obviously know how to work a telephone. So I think you have some level of, I don't know, sense. So show me that sense and actually demonstrate why my definition is faulty.
Well, okay. I would say your definition is faulty because it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so again, you're incapable of showing why the definition is faulty.
I just did.
Okay, John, you give me a definition for man real quick. Give me one. I'm going to show you how stupid you are. No, I didn't hear it. Give it again. I'm going to show you how stupid you are.
I'm going to say it. I'm guessing you're going to say it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, John, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that definition is faulty because it doesn't make sense. That's it. Apparently, that's all you have to do to win a conversation in John world. You don't have to actually logically demonstrate your side. You don't have to provide an actual counter argument. You just say that doesn't make sense. John, I'll just say it doesn't make sense to you because you're stupid, John. I'll just say it doesn't make sense to you because you are too stupid to understand it. Can you provide an actual reason why? Here, give me a syllogism for why my definition doesn't make sense. Give a syllogism, P1, P2 conclusion. Do that, and then we can actually get somewhere in the conversation, John.
I've already demonstrated why.
John, you haven't demonstrated shit. You can keep saying all day and all night, oh, I actually demonstrated this. I did do this. But everybody who's been listening for the past 14 minutes and 39 seconds, 40 seconds, 41 seconds knows that you didn't, John. I hate to tell you this, but the conversation is recorded, John. Everybody's heard it. And everybody's heard that you are incapable of actually substantiating your claim. Your claim is that my definition doesn't make sense. Substantiate that, John. In some relevant way, actually substantiate it.
Yeah, I already did several times.
Okay, you didn't. Not even once.
Okay, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that.
There's no agree to disagree, John. Unfortunately, you don't have the capability of changing the past. So everyone heard that you provided no substantiation. Do you want to try to provide substantiation now, or are you too chicken shit? Here, we'll do this. Pretend I didn't hear your substantiation the first time. Let's pretend that you fully substantiated why it doesn't make sense. I didn't hear it. Say it again, John.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that with you.
Because you don't actually have an answer, John. If you had an answer, you wouldn't mind saying it again. This isn't fucking, what do you think this is? Fucking racetrack? You think you only got to go around the track once? No, John. If you have substantiated already, provide the substantiation again. Here I am telling you, I didn't listen, John. Let's pretend, John. Let's pretend that I can't hear. I didn't hear. I fucking went deaf for a solid 10 minutes. Can you provide the substantiation? Yes or no?
I already did, man. I'm not going to keep doing this with you.
Yes, John, I know, because you are chicken shit. You're chicken shit of having your chicken shit. You want to move topics because you realize, holy shit, this dude knows more than me about this specific topic. So let me run as fast as I humanly can onto another topic. I'm not going to let you run, John. Either substantiate or go find a different person to bother today. Those are your two options. Those are the two options you have right now.
You already conceded 5.
Those are I haven't conceded a single thing, John. You don't know what a concession means. I don't think you understand the definition of the word concession. You seem to continue to use words that apparently you've never looked up before. So clearly you don't know what concession means. Okay. So I'm going to say again, John, your two options right now are to substantiate. Your two options are to substantiate, or you can go find a different person to bother. Those are your two options right now.
I already substantiated.
Okay, well, I'm going to mute you because apparently you don't know what the definition of substantiate means either. So I'm going to mute you and put you in timeout for 60 seconds. After that 60-second time, you will have a chance to substantiate your argument, or that will be it for you today. Now, I love when people make really shitty gotcha attempts, realize that they made really shitty gotcha attempts, and then they struggle and flail and do all of this. Well, John ran, he ran away because John was scared. Now, I was not scared to have the conversation. John was just incapable of actually arguing his point. Sorry, John, we don't do that here. We substantiate here. Thanks for calling. I hope you have the day you deserve. Bravely ran away. I don't know if I'd say bravely. I wouldn't say he bravely ran away. I'd say he ran away. It is embarrassing. All MAGA are cowards. True. It's a tactical retreat is crazy. All right, we're going to bring up the next person. Next up in the call queue is James. Now, James doesn't believe in systemic racism, so let's see how James tries to substantiate that in any meaningful way. James, if you can hear me, please provide me your age and pronouns.
James, he, him, 35.
All right, James, now you're calling in about systemic racism. You say systemic racism doesn't exist. How do you substantiate this, James?
I would say systemic racism isn't real because Black people in general have they outperform other races in certain categories.
Which categories?
Sports is one.
When you say outperform, what do you mean? Do you mean they just do better at sports?
But yeah, if the system as a whole, if America as a whole.
Sorry, James, I just want to know what you mean by outperform really quickly. Do you mean they do better at sports? Do you mean they make more money in sports? What do you mean by outperform?
Sure, you could make money, perform.
Well, which one are you talking about? You said they outperform, so I want to know what you're specifically talking about.
They could be both. I mean, if you outperform somebody in a job, you make more money, you do better than them.
Okay, the highest earners in all sporting categories are white team owners. They're the highest earners in all sports. So Black people don't have the share. It depends on what. No, this is just across the board.
So in the NFL, right? What is the majority race in the NFL?
I don't know. I'd probably say Black.
And what about the NBA?
Probably Black. If we're talking player base, sure.
So that's just
But again, if you're saying sports, right? You're talking specifically players. Players aren't the only people earning money in sports. The highest earners in sports are white team owners. They're the ones earning the most money, not the players.
Well, of course, they own the team.
So then who's outperforming? If we're looking at sports as a category, white people are outperforming because they're the ones earning the most.
What I'm saying is I only make $25,000 a year. A
Okay.
black person makes more than I do. If the system was racist,
okay, so just confirming, you think if one person does better than another person, that proves the system can't be racist? You don't like looking at averages or
yes,
at
yes.
rates. You like to look at the individual.
And I'll give you an example of systematic racism.
You probably won't, but you can try
World
it.
War II in Nazi Germany, they systematically killed Jews. They systematically murdered them. If the system was racist, all black people would be quartered into camps and slavery would still be real.
Okay, I don't think you understand what systemic racism is. I just don't think you know what it is. I'm inferring this from what you just described.
The system of America is not racist. We had a black president.
Damn, you just thought you thought you ate with that one, didn't you?
How is the system racist?
You thought you ate that shit, didn't you? God damn. All right, let's talk about it. First and foremost, when we look at racism within our systems, we don't look at individuals, we look at the average. We look at what the average person is going to experience and like what those people experience on whole. So when you look at a very small percentage of black people and go, see, they're doing well, and not the larger percentage of black people that aren't, you are ignoring actual data. Do you like ignoring actual data, James, or is it just in this instance that you do?
So are cops racist against whites because they kill more whites than blacks every year?
There are more white people than black people. Of course, more white people are going to die every year. Do you know how per capita numbers work, James?
So,
no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was an actual question. I'm actually asking you, James. James, I'm legitimately asking you if you know what per capita means.
They're racist. They kill more white people a year.
Do you know what per capita means?
There's more white people than black people.
Do you know what per capita means?
I'm asking you genuinely. Why aren't they just going into the?
I'm asking you genuinely if you know what per capita means,
black
James.
Community and mowing them down. I mean,
James, do you know what per capita? James, do you know what per capita means?
Yes, I know what per capita means.
So then let's look at the actual numbers. White people are killed by police, 34 per million. Okay. Black people are killed by police, 94 per million. That means when we look at the rates, black people are killed more than white people by police. Are you aware of this?
But they commit more. Don't they commit more of the violent crime than whites do?
We don't have a full number on who commits the most violent crime because the crime reporting isn't succinct. We have the FBI's crime data from Table 42.
Okay, bro.
James, if you're incapable of listening and learning, and let me ask you a question. Are you capable of taking in new information and learning from it? Are you? Oh, he hung up. I'm going to take that as a no then. I'm going to fully take that as a no. He's incapable of taking. So I'll just explain to you guys what I was saying to him. So when we look at the crime data, we typically use Table 43 from the FBI, Table 43A specifically, which looks at crime aggregate to a lot of different population deviations. One, Table 43A is incomplete. There are whole states that do not report crime data. I'll let you guess which ones. It tends to be states in cities that are predominantly white. Two, when we look at crime data, yes, we do see that per capita, black people tend to commit more violent crime. We don't see this in other, and not even all violent crime. We don't see this in like every type of violent crime, right? We actually see more even distribution among other violent crime. Three, when we look at crime is directly related to poverty. When we look at crime in proportion to poverty rates, the crime rates between races tend to even out. These things are all pretty well known. James is just incapable of taking in new information and learning from that new information. So hopefully that explains something to you guys. So in case you ever hear the bullshit 13 50 quote, you'll be able to combat it with actual data. I also like that he just threw everything at the wall in hoping something would stick. He said, I'm just going to throw every racist thing I heard about and hope one of those racist things stick. Hilarious. Yeah, John, are you ready to substantiate your claim yet? Like, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, substantiate your claim now. I know that you needed time to go and like Google an argument. So now I hope you have that argument. Substantiate it.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't need Google. We'll go ahead and go through it. So your question or your argument was that trans men are men. And then you used the analogy of the difference between black men and white men.
I didn't use the analogy. I didn't use the analogy to substantiate my claim. The analogy was to show why the other claim was ridiculous.
Okay. Well, here's another example of that. What's a snake? Okay. What's a king snake and what's a corn snake? They're both snakes, but they have different dichotomies than one another because they are different.
Is this the same John or is this a different John?
This is a different John.
Holy shit. It said you were my apologies. It said you were the same John. So my apologies. It literally said the last call was earlier. Okay, so this is a different John. This is actually hilarious. We have two Johns in a row. John, before we begin, can you just give me your age and pronouns?
Yeah, that's 44,
so
he, him.
That's fucking hilarious. 2 Johns in a row. Okay, John is 44 and goes by he, him. Okay. So I apologize for thinking you were the other John.
That's okay.
So John, you don't think trans men and women are men and women, like period. Is that correct?
I do not.
Okay, what is a man?
A man is someone with XY chromosomes that has testicles that produces higher levels of testosterone on average than their female counterpart. That's what a man is.
Does a man have to have all of those things in order to be a man?
Generally speaking, at birth, yes. If a man, now I'm not saying that there's not some medical issue, you know, where one has to be removed, one doesn't fully develop, but the way they develop, all men have XY chromosomes. No men have XX chromosomes.
Incorrect.
None of them. At birth, when you're in the hospital, there's no doctor that's going to say, well, this person has a female anatomy, but it's actually a man. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in the animal kingdom. In all mammalian biology, that has never happened across the board. There has never been a conclusive study with any type of animal in the entire animal kingdom that refers to a male animal that has become a woman.
Okay.
So
let me hold on. First of all, no animals would be women. Second of all, there are animals that go from male to female. Seahorses, for example, do go from male to female. Third, there are males with XX chromosomes. It's specifically called XX male syndrome. There are males who have XX chromosomes because the SRY gene activates on the X chromosome instead of the Y chromosome. Thus, they receive male development. So all of those things are incorrect. But the main thing I want to point to you here is you're claiming trans men and women cannot be men and women, which means you are making a category. You're making a category distinction. Okay.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
I'm totally fine with the fact that you're making a category distinction. I didn't record any of this conversation. It's okay. I can get the video back later. I'm totally fine with you making a category distinction and saying that there's a category here, man and woman, that some people do not fit into. But this means okay, that you have to have a necessary condition for that category. There must be something required to be in that category. And if you're telling me that, hey, there really isn't anything because there could be variances, then trans people would just be people with variances who can fit into the category, like other people with variances that fit into the category. Unless you have some sort of necessary. Okay, that's correct. Okay, then trans men and women would be men and women.
I'm not arguing that point that there's not some variance. I'm not arguing the point that there's not hermaphrodites or there's.
So that's not a term used medically for humans, just FYI. We don't use that term medically for humans anymore.
In the animal kingdom. And as far as seahorses are concerned, they are born with both sexual reproductive or with both organs. So they don't switch. They just, it's like one becomes stronger over a period of growth. So it's not like they don't have that and then they become that. They have both, and it's the same in some amphibians where they have both female and male reproductive organs so they can create their own offspring in those cases. But that's very specific, and that doesn't happen in mammalian biology. It may happen in fish in certain situations. It may happen in amphibians in certain situations, and I don't believe it happens ever with reptiles. But it definitely does not happen with mammals.
So John, hold on. The thing I want to boil down here. Okay, the thing I want to boil down here. You've already admitted to me that there can be people with variances who fit into the category. Why are trans people not considered people with variances that fit into the category?
They can fit into a category. The problem with the trans community is that there is this severe rhetoric that goes against everybody who's straight, white, straight, female, that it feels like we have to be locked into this ideology in order to conform to their existence.
You recognize there's tons of straight, white, trans people, right? Like there's a bunch of straight white trans people.
Maybe so, but they're not on TV or on the internet making a scene, shooting people and mass shootings. That kind of stuff
trans people aren't committing mass shootings. Like there's no statistical significance of trans people. No, they're not.
They've done it in more than 8 states. So
wait. How many mass shootings in 20? Well, give me a time frame. You want to go 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
Go 10 years. Yeah.
Okay.
10 years.
So between 2015 and 2025, how many mass shootings have been committed by trans people?
I don't know the exact number, but I know it's happened in multiple states. I saw a documentary that talked about it and went through the specificity of it. I don't know all their names. I'm not that well versed on that information, but I do know that it's happened, and I know if I got on Google right now, I could find it.
Okay. Do you want the answer?
I mean, you can tell me your answer.
It's like 7.
Well, that's still a lot for such a small minority.
In 10 years? No. We're not looking at them. Hold on. See, this is the problem. People when we do these sort of things, people like to say, but look at the amount of trans people versus the amount of shooters. That's not how you come up with numbers like these. You would look at the amount of shootings.
Come off of the total.
No,
and
you would look at
do a statistical.
No, the statistical evaluation would be to look at the number of shootings and then the rate of people committing those shootings, not at the number of people in a group and then the rate of people in that group doing X, Y, or Z. That's not how you would come up with this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do.
So when we look at the number, so how many mass shootings were there between 2015 and 2025?
Yeah, I don't know what the exact number is, but I know mass shootings are definitely within the thousands over that 10-year period nationally. I understand that. But when you look at the entire populace and then you look at the trans community and the percentage of that community that makes up the entire populace, which would be personified to that entire number of mass shootings, how many of them in that small subjective group have committed that crime, even though there's such a low number of people within that group?
So first of all, John. So first of all, we're on a tangent that doesn't even have anything to do with the main claim you made, but we've moved on to this for some reason. First of all, of the 6,000 roughly estimated mass shootings in the last 10 years, trans people have committed 7. This isn't statistical significance in any way, shape, or form. And it doesn't indicate violence amongst a group, right? Now, if we want to look at like other factors, we can ask how many of those mass shootings were like white men. But it doesn't, it's also not going to signify violence amongst a group.
How many of them were white liberal men?
A far less portion of it than were white conservative men.
Conservative? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's true at all.
Okay.
I think that it's more predominant in the black community. I know that because I'm from New Orleans originally, and I've been in that type of community where there's high levels of crime, there's tons of murders. I've seen exactly what statistically it is like.
John. Violence is going to be higher in areas of poverty. This is the case. This is always the case. Black people have been systemically pushed into areas of poverty for hundreds of years.
Okay.
So it makes total sense that there's a higher rate of violence amongst a group that are living in poverty.
That's because of culture and bad decisions.
It's not because of culture. There's no difference in the violence in black culture versus the violence in white culture. It doesn't exist.
Okay. Do you know who in the female representation of college graduates and minorities that have been immigrants, who graduates more often?
You tell me, John.
Black women.
Okay.
Now, that could be from Nigeria, from Haiti, from a bunch of different African countries.
What does this have to do with what we're currently talking about?
Well, my point. Well, you're using this as a scapegoat to why black communities are causing more violent crime in these impoverished areas.
John, black communities commit the crime is higher within black areas because the poverty rates are higher within those areas.
Okay, I agree.
Poverty is a direct causation to crime. Like a direct cause. There's a direct causal line between poverty and crime.
You're right. You're right. I lived in poverty-stricken areas in New Orleans, but I just went to work at a young age. I quit fucking up. I quit ruining my life. I did drugs. I partied. I was a DJ. I used to spin at the State Palace in downtown New Orleans. Like, I've been through that whole
survivorship
environment.
Bias, John.
I've been shot at. I almost got stabbed with an ice pick one night buying drugs by 4 black dudes.
John, this is survivorship bias. Do you know what survivorship bias is?
But no. Okay. I see what you're saying. But I can understand what you're saying about survivorship bias. But the point is, at an individual level, if you decide at any point that being in this situation is less beneficial to you and step away from it, your life will improve. If you don't go hang out with scumbags, you go to work every single day. You stay focused.
You acknowledged,
you try to learn.
You acknowledged to me that you were doing.
Around you with respect,
John,
and I can promise you that anybody can do well if they just stay consistent.
John, you admitted to me that you knew you were doing survivorship bias, and then you just continued to do survivorship bias.
Well, I'm trying to make a general point that anybody can get out of any situation they're in.
Wait, it has nothing to do, John, it doesn't have to do with whether people can get out of a situation. It has to do with the fact that somebody starting from a place where their people are systemically oppressed have a harder time doing this than people whose people are not systemically oppressed. When you have a group of people who on average have a lower familial wealth, who on average are pulled over more for traffic stops, who on average have a higher maternal mortality rate, who on average have lower incomes. When you do all of these things, it's going to be harder for someone to pull themselves out of that. And we can't sit here and ignore societal factors when humans are fucking social creatures. Our societies and environment shape us constantly. That's why we know that somebody who's around alcohol has a higher propensity to become an alcoholic, right? Because it's a mixture of your environment and your genetics. But we know that, like, if your parents are alcoholics and you grow up watching alcoholics every day, you have a higher chance of being an alcoholic. So when someone's born into poverty and they're around violence and they're around these sort of things all day, they have a higher propensity to get caught up in these things. And we continue to underfund schools, to underfund community programs. We continue to give the middle finger to black people in this country in like every single aspect of life, and then expect them to succeed. The way I like to describe it is, imagine me and you, John, sat down and played Mario Kart, and I went around the track 2 times completely before you even got to move. Yeah. And then you get to move while I'm on my 3rd lap, and I have a blue shell and you have a banana peel. You could theoretically still win. You could still beat me in that race. It's not going to be very easy, is it?
I think that's a bad analogy. And you're right. Yeah, I do agree that culturally, when you're in a place like that, that it is harder. I'm not denying that, because I grew up in that place. I grew up in poverty. I've been in all those same situations. So I can empathize with people that have been there. But I knew in myself, I got to a point to where I was at my bottom. And when I got to my bottom and felt like I didn't have other people to lean on that were productive for my future, I got away from them. It took time. And it seemed like for 10 years, I fucking worked my ass off and nobody would give me a chance. People ripped me off at work. I didn't steal. I was doing drugs sparingly by myself. But I wasn't fucking people over. I wasn't causing problems in other people's lives. I didn't live with this malicious propensity to just be shitty every time I had a chance to take advantage. I just wanted to be honest, structured, and stay to the game. And that's what I did. Are you gone?
John, you are still engaging in survivorship bias.
But why can't other people do that are born in that same situation?
Because you don't know what else those people are. You don't know what those people are dealing with. I'm not Here's the thing. I think a lot of people think that when I have these conversations, I'm discounting the fact that, like, oh, hey, there is some level of personal responsibility. And I believe, and I agree that, like, there is a level of personal responsibility in the things you do, but we cannot deny the systemic factors at play. Right? It's real easy for people to go, well, look at all the single mother homes in the black community, without also looking at the fact that black communities are over policed. Their men are thrown into jail at much higher rates than white communities. And the fact that the CIA literally did a concerted effort to throw black men in prison for drug charges a lot longer than they threw white men in prison for. So yeah, you can say, hey, hey, look, these people should be more responsible and not be getting into relationships and having baby daddies, blah, blah, blah. But then we ignore the large societal impacts that have affected the single parent household in the black community. We're looking at, when you only look at personal responsibility, you look at half of the story. And we can't look at half of the story when we're trying. If all factors were even, like if all factors were even in terms of wealth, income, the criminal justice system, education, healthcare, if all those factors were even, and then we still saw high rates in the black community of all these things, I might agree with you that, hey, there seems to be an issue in the black community and we need to figure what's going on. But we've seen in the past, when black people have started to build that wealth, that these issues disappear. And what happened every time that happened? Okay. White people came in and burnt our cities to the ground to build a park.
There's a guy who owns some bars. He's from Costa Rica. He's a black guy. He lives in New Orleans. He owns like 17 pieces of property in the 7th Ward, and he owns 2 bars and a convenience store. And I did some work for him. He was my next door neighbor. I lived across the street from him. He had the only nice house in the whole neighborhood, okay? And a bar that was racking in money. I mean, it was full 7 days a week. It was full. And he told me, this is coming from his mouth, in the 1980s, there is a subdivision, a big subdivision in New Orleans East. And I went there one day to go look at some work to do on the house because the last tenants had moved out. He told me, he said, in the 80s, there were 2 black families in this place. He said it was beautiful. He said now he would use the N-word derogatorily all the time, in front of black people, in front of me, in front of everybody. And I never agreed with him, but I understood his point of reference. He told me, he said, since the black people took over this neighborhood, you see how it is now. There's piles of trash on the curb everywhere. On every street, there's like, if somebody throws a couch out, they just throw it across the easement into the ditch. Like, they don't bring it anywhere. They don't put it in one specific pile. Now, that's not, to me, that's not a white person's fault. That's personal responsibility. And in the same way, what you're saying is that there are some systemic issues. I felt like people have done that to me. I've definitely been in the black community where I was ostracized because I was the white guy and hanging out with a bunch of black dudes. That's happened to me numerous times. And I feel like just the tribalism of individual groups, whether it be by race, it be by style, or it be by culture, if you're an outsider, you're going to be treated slightly different than other people. But I've had that same systemic feeling across the board, from white people, from black people, from Spanish people, and from Asian people.
John, none of that addresses any of the things I said. Again, when we see income and wealth, even when we see the wealth gap even out, all the things you're talking about start to go away.
Well, of course, people are happier when they have more money.
So you recognize that the issue is systemic poverty. It's not with black people or black culture.
Well, my point is, why is it not so prevalent with white poor people in white culture?
It is, but there's more. But there's a more dilution of white people across the class gaps, right? Middle and upper class. There's a more dilution of white people across those, so you get a more spread out average of numbers.
Well, of course, but if you put statistically who is less employed, who's getting in more trouble, even if you take it by the actual numbers, not the statistic of the total, the numbers are much higher in the black community. And here's another point against
if we're
that.
taking just numbers, John, if we're not looking at the rates and we're just taking like the numbers, not looking at analyzing them by population, it's white people. White people commit the bulk of everything. Like, if we're looking at just crime, like if we go to table, this we talked about in a previous call, but if you go to table 43 and you're just looking at crime stats by number of crime committed, white people outrank black people on
67% white and 13% black.
That's why we have to look at the population rates. But again, what I'm saying is there's more white people in based on population, there's more white people in the middle and upper class systems. So that way you're going to have a lot less rates of white people doing these things, because poverty is the linchpin key that we're missing here.
Yeah. And what about what if I were to use the example of what happens in the Spanish community? Because Spanish people never have a problem getting a job. They pick the jobs that they want, so it's not like most Spanish people are white. In the upper echelon of, most Spanish people are white.
Yeah,
they're brown. They're not white.
They're white.
Yeah, that's not white.
Brown is not a race. Brown is not a race.
Well, brown is a race.
And we know brown is not a race. Brown is not a race.
Well, I think that's a little unfair. It's not.
Unreasonable. There's no race. It's not black, brown, white.
There only two?
That we have a specific. In fact, there's so much more white, Spanish, and Latino people that we literally have a word for the black one. So they call them Afro-Latina, because they have a specific phrase for the Latino community that are black, and they're separated from the Latino community that are not.
Yeah, but when you're filling out a consensus form, you don't. If you're Latina, you don't put white. You put Latina.
Hispanic is under ethnicity, not under race.
Yeah. Okay. Well, ethnicity. Well, I mean, okay. Okay, so now we're breaking down the fundamentals of in between the specificity of race. So
ethnicity and race
only
means
black
different
and white,
things.
is what you're saying.
There are five races. There are five races recognized legally in the United States. It's white, black, or African American, American Indian or Alaskan Native, Asian, and then Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. Those are the five racial categories in the U.S.
And Hispanic.
No, Hispanic is a ethnicity. Hispanic and Latino are considered ethnicities.
Okay, well, either way, from a cultural point of view, you can see that Spanish people don't necessarily resonate with white people. If that were the case, then the president wouldn't be in office and immigration wouldn't be shut down. So there's a clear distinction to many white people, the difference between Spanish people and white people, because people in America are predominantly white and they feel like that immigration is taking over. It's costing the taxpayer too much money, and there's an influx of people that shouldn't be here. Well, I've experienced it. I lived in South Florida. I couldn't find, in 2022, I couldn't find a room for rent for less than $1,600. And that's with no kitchen, no kitchen, no anything else other than a bathroom and a microwave. That was my last apartment, and I paid $1,600. And I went 2 months without finding an apartment, looking for one, because
it's not because of immigrants.
Prices were so unbelievable. Well, you could go to entire sections of Palm Beach County, and it's nothing but Spanish people. It's all the low-end rental housing.
That's not why the rental prices are rising. We typically tend to see higher rental prices in larger populated areas.
Look, no, my point is the influx of immigrants takes away from Americans.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter if that's what's spiking. Well,
no,
of course it does, because it did in my particular situation.
No, it didn't. You couldn't find, there were houses available, you just couldn't afford them. That's a different conversation. And the reason you couldn't afford them is because people who own those properties skyrocket the rent. I guarantee you. Supply and demand. No, I guarantee you if you look at I promise you, if you look at the raise in rent increases versus the amount of rental acquisitions of like property that's being rented out, you're going to see a disparity in those numbers. I can all but guarantee it.
Yeah, I think
landlords always increase prices whether or not they have ample supply or not. That what happens is landlords will increase prices up until people stop renting, and then they'll slowly start to pull those prices back.
Yeah, but if you live in, let's say, the mountains of North Carolina or the coast of South Florida, the rent is
because there's less people.
More expensive in South Florida.
Because there's less people, and it's a less desirable place to live.
Exactly. That's what I just said.
Do you think if we get rid of immigrants out of South Florida, there's still not going to be a lot of fucking people? People move to Florida all the time.
I'm in North Florida now. And I got a $10 raise working a job for 6 months. I got a $10 raise almost a month ago.
What does that have to do with immigrants?
I know that's because we're flooded with work because there's no immigrants here. I was making less in South Florida than I'm making in North Florida, even though the economy is way higher in South Florida, and the average pay is way higher, and I'm making $10 more an hour here than I was making there. Make sense. It's
John,
because of the influx of workers. There's so much labor available that they can down the price because there's plenty of people to fill the slot.
John, I promise you're going to be unable to provide that causal line. You're not going to be able to show a causality here.
Specifically on a website?
No, I just mean you're not going to be able to actually show the cause here. Why, but you keep claiming it's why, but you'd have to actually be able to substantiate that with some hard data.
You're right. And I don't have data to substantiate it. I can only tell you my own personal lived experience. And I've been here long enough that the experience didn't change until this changed. So if it has nothing to do with the demographic of people, then I don't know what it has to do with.
It could be a million things, John. You live in a new area. You're working a new job. You've said there were so many. So how can you possibly attribute the change to one thing? You're in a new area. You have a new job. You're working with new people. Like, you can't attribute that. You'd have to.
I think I can attribute it. because it has multiple factors that would affect it.
That means
And
you
if those
can't attribute it to one thing.
no longer exist, I'm saying multiple factors within the immigration issue. Multiple factors within the immigration issue. If there's less people looking for jobs, they need workers more often. They need people to do different types of jobs because there's not the influx of people to do them. So just in those two cases, my skill set is more pronounced because I get to do these other things because the opportunity is there. Now you could say that doesn't exist, it has nothing to do with that, but I have the lived experience, and these are multiple reasons why, just because of this one thing that has been effectual. And for me, it has been effectual. And there's nothing else that has happened post this administration that has changed that.
John, your lived experience can only provide you a partial view of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
It can't provide you the whole view, so you can't attribute.
You're right.
All of these changes in your life to immigrants, into like immigration being changed or any of that, because you only have a limited view of the situation. You only have your limited view.
That's true. That's
but
true.
Then you keep doing it. But then you keep doing it, John.
I still think it has a substantial effect. I'm not saying there aren't other factors involved. I'm saying that it has a substantial effect. It also has a substantial effect on the rental housing market. I also think it has a substantial effect of the ability to find jobs within my realm of job searching. So I think there are multiple big factors that would affect what I'm making, the economical balance in the area that I'm in, how it affects my industry. I think there are multiple factors that are propelling me forward in a positive way without the influx of immigrants.
Okay, well, John,
you may disagree, but that's how I feel.
I disagree because you don't have the data to back that up. But we've been talking for almost 30 minutes. So I'm going to move on to the next person.
Okay. I appreciate it.
I don't know how we went from trans men and women or not men and women to illegal immigrants. I don't think I could recall that conversation track. Just a Human Dude, thank you for resubscribing with your Amazon Prime over on Twitch. Cerelius, thank you for resubscribing for 2 months at tier 1. Thank you so much. Retro Greg, thank you for subscribing with your Amazon Prime. Do any new members on YouTube? Jack Braun, thank you for becoming a member for your 14th month. Who would have thought that the Google search Bill Clinton BJ would have a resurgence? So true. Ooh, what a day today. What a day. 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 Day. What a day. What a day. What a day. Day. What a day. What a day. What a day. Day. I gotta pee. What a day. Day. Okay, I'm gonna pee real quick, and then we'll continue these conversations after a short little bathroom break. Did I ever make a break scene here over on Twitch or over on vMix? I don't think I did. I don't think I ever made a "Hey, I'll be right back" screen. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay. We're back. We're back. All right. Let's bring in the next caller. You know what I need? I'm gonna post this to my screeners. Okay. Coming up next to the show, we have Caleb. Now, Caleb actually thinks Trump is a pretty good president and thinks he's pretty perfect for the job. So let's find out why Caleb still supports Trump. Hello, Caleb. If you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
My pronouns are he and him, and I am 29.
Okay. And Caleb, you still support Donald Trump. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
Okay. Why?
The main reason why, like I explained a little bit, and that is because we really don't need a people person right now. We need a businessman, not a people person.
Okay. Do you think a businessman that went bankrupt 7 times is a good businessman?
I mean, he did mess up. I am aware of that, yes, but still.
Do you think a businessman that
It's
scams
casinos
people
are
is a good
still
businessman?
I mean, no, but sometimes we got to be cutting edge, and that's what I think is Donald Trump said about the whole thing.
Is being
The whole
cutting
thing.
edge. When it comes to Donald Trump, Trump University, that was a scam. He got sued for billions of dollars for like scamming people. Not billions, millions. Do you think somebody who runs his businesses by operating scams is who should be president of the United States? And who's right for the United States?
Well, not in that way when it comes to that. That was pretty bad.
Okay,
I
then in
did
what
hear
way?
about that. The way I think of it is, he was born with a bunch of money and power in the first place
Sure.
because of his father.
Sure.
So, honestly, on my opinion, he's just qualified for, like people who were stupid before him.
Okay, before Donald Trump became president, we had Obama. How was Obama stupid before him?
The whole Obamacare thing.
What was bad about Obamacare?
What was happening with that?
Sure. What specifically did you dislike about Obamacare?
First of all, it was draining some of the money from the government. I mean, there's that. I mean, plus Donald Trump has been giving out checks recently.
Wait. Hold on. What you wait. He hasn't given out any checks. So first and foremost, what do you said Obamacare was draining money from the government in what way?
Just giving people who would abuse Obamacare for money. Who would abuse the Obamacare for money?
Wait, who was abusing Obamacare for money? The ACA was like insurance mandates. Who was abusing that for money? And how were they getting money out of it?
Like, it's really hard to explain, but like there are some points in the Obamacare with some of the checks they would send to with the with people spending them not for exactly what the
Wait. Obamacare wasn't where you got checks. Obamacare was insurance guidelines and mandates, and then government funded marketplaces. Who was getting checks?
The government funded marketplaces.
Okay, how are people abusing those marketplaces? I'm just
personally the type of person that you need to work for your food anyway.
So you don't think we should be offering low income people with subsidized insurance plans and things like that? You think that if they can't afford insurance, they shouldn't have insurance?
Yes, I do.
So what happens when they get sick?
When they get sick, it's more of the fact that just pay it out of your pocket.
And what happens if they can't afford the out-of-pocket pay?
You gotta have to.
What happens if they can't afford the out-of-pocket pay? What then?
On my honest opinion, it would just be over at that point.
It would just be over at that point? Over what? How do the hospitals get that money back?
They shouldn't have to serve the people then.
So hospitals, you think that hospitals should be able to... So you think like an emergency room should be able to turn people away and say, no, we're not going to treat you because you don't have insurance?
Or the money to pay, yes.
So I go to the ER, my arm is cut off and I'm bleeding out. They should just what? Let me bleed out in the parking lot? Be like, sorry, sucks to suck.
I mean, minimum health care is okay, but like that major of an instance, like I'm talking about like life-threatening injuries, like.
How do you know something's life-threatening if you don't admit them and check them? How can you tell something is life-threatening from the emergency room waiting room?
You can tell when people are sick, man. It's so easy to tell when someone.
How do you know it's life-threatening if you don't test them? If you don't take them in and do tests and all that, how do you know if what they have is life-threatening or not?
I just shouldn't have called because honestly, I'm not good at debating. Never have been, never will be. So I just probably shouldn't have called. I should have just closed my mouth like I always do. So yeah, I'm done here. That was my mistake for calling you.
Okay.
All right.
That's pretty sad. Okay. All right. Anyway, before we keep going, just a reminder, if you want to support the stream, guys, there's a couple ways to do that. Shout out to all the people that have super chatted on YouTube. I will read the super chats later. But consider super chatting. It's a great way to support the stream. Consider tipping. We haven't gotten any tips yet today. So if you want to support the stream and you want all the tip money kicks right back into Call In Studio so that I can keep these call lines up and running for you. So if you want to tip, catch them in Venmo or on the screen. You can also gift a sub. Ooh, don't do that. You can also gift a sub if you want to on Twitch. That's also a great way to support the stream or sub yourself. Retro Greg, thank you for subbing with your Amazon Prime. If you do have Amazon Prime, you get a free sub every month on Twitch. Consider using it for me. I'd love a free sub. Fuck, I want Subway today. Shit, I want Subway. What a crazy call. Briar Rose, thank you for so much for gifting a sub over on Twitch. Pillow, thank you for resubscribing to Amazon Prime for your 6th month. Jovan wants a sub confirmed. I mean, just kidding. No, but a meatball sub could go hard right now. Meatball sub would go tough as shit. You deserve better than Subway. I like Subway's meatballs. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I don't really like deli meat, so I always get a meatball sub at Subway. Thank you guys for the super chats. We will read all the super chats at the end of the stream. Kind of want to play a horror game again today. I want to be scared. I want to be spooked. All right, let's bring in the next person. Next up on the show, we have Joe, and Joe wants to call about topic number 5. He doesn't think trans men and women are men and women, so we're going to find out. Joe, if you can hear me, can you please provide me your age and pronouns?
We'll go with 30 and he, him, his.
Okay. Now, Joe, you don't think trans men and women are men and women. Can you tell me what you believe men and women to be?
Well, if I can get this straight, right?
No, you can only get a gay.
That if I'm making... What?
I said, no, you can only get a gay.
Oh, yeah. So, if I make a group that is exclusionary, which is what you've been talking about, I have to have a rule for that group, right? So it has
if
to be
it's
something
exclusionary, there must be a necessary condition. Yeah, there must be a necessary condition to get in access to that group that nobody else possesses because they do not have access to that group. So a great example is like a square. A square must have 4 sides of equal lengths. A square must have 4 right angles, and a square must have 2 sets of perpendicular lines. I think those are all of the necessary conditions to be a square. But if you're missing any of those, you don't have a square anymore.
You don't have a square, yeah. So then a functioning definition for a man would be an individual whose sex aligns with the gender and or sex given to them at birth by the prescribed doctor and or physician or the nurse, whoever it was. Then the same would be for woman.
So that definition tells me that definition is going to tell me that men and women are dictated specifically by doctors. So if a doctor gets it wrong, then what are you? You would be what the doctor said, or you would be what you actually are?
It depends on what you mean by how the doctor got it wrong.
Let's say you're born.
Because that's the important part, right?
Yeah. Let's say you're born and the doctor, for some reason, said things. Let's say you're born, it's you, Joe, and the doctor mistook you as a female for whatever reason. Right. And let's say that you on your birth certificate, it says female because the doctor got it wrong. What would that make you a woman, or are you still a man?
I think under the context of the question and under what we have prescribed here in the United States, That would make me, unfortunately, functionally a woman, yes.
Really?
Unfortunately, yeah.
I
Isn't that
just,
what we kind of have today? That
I
people
just
have to
don't.
like fight against that legally?
Yeah, I just don't. So we're only speaking legally then. Like you're only talking about what like the legal government considers you. Because I wouldn't say that that's what makes you a woman or not. Is what the governing body assigned to you makes you. What if they're
Why
wrong?
not?
Because what if they're wrong?
Well, I
What
mean,
if everybody in the government says tomorrow all black men are now classified women? Right? Just because the government decides this is what we want to do. Like we would all look at that and be like, well, that's not the case, clearly.
I understand your point.
Don't under this like wouldn't you say that it's probably more accurate that gender is like a self prescribed thing, not a legally societally prescribed thing?
I mean, that would be the hope, right? But society does create gender because it is a gender norm. It's just something that we categorize because we
Sure,
like to
I could
categorize because
agree.
we're sick fucks.
I could fully agree with you that society creates gender categories, right? Absolutely,
Yeah.
it does. But I don't think that would put me in agreement that society then dictates who goes into those gender categories. I think society would just say these are what we, and it's not even a conscious thing, right? It takes fucking thousands of years and a lot of stuff like that. But I think society just predominantly goes, hey, these are how we as a society have like evolved into gender, and these are the categories you can fit into if you want to.
Well, I'm not trying to pivot, and I know people say that before they pivot. But let me ask you a question: do you believe in objective truths?
I believe there are objective universal truths, but I don't believe those can exist within socially constructed things. I think there can be no objective truth in a social construction.
I also do not believe in objective truths to an extent. Of course, I can't say to a complete extent because, of course, gravity exists, and that is an objective truth, period. But if the society has made the gender norms and society has made the systems in place that we have, the doctors who say that the sex is male or female, then that's what we have to go as a society. And that ultimately is going to be where I say the exclusionary rule. That's the rule.
Well, so
do I agree with it? I don't agree with it.
Let me give a slight pushback on that. I think that
sure.
First of all, I think that objective truths exist. I would say a lot of them tend to be relative. So while there are things that are objectively true, like what the value of that objective truth would tend to be a relative value. Subjectively, I think when we look at the way society engages in almost any category, it's very clear that a lot of it is society creating categories while individuals create the rules of those categories. So for instance, society absolutely has created this category of love and this conception of love on like a societal basis, but I as the individual get to determine how I engage with love, whether I feel love, what love looks like to me. Same with like things like friendship, same with like a lot of category distinctions that we make. I'd place gender in relatively the same way here. Right? Society has created gender roles and categories and attributes that the genders fall into, but the way we engage with those would be on an individual basis.
I can see how that works. I can see how that's more logical than the system that we have in place, but that's not the system we have in place now, is it?
I would say it is the system that we have in place for like the bulk of people. I think they just don't realize it. Like for instance, you talk about how doctors will tell you if you're male or female, but doctors are just making a guess, typically based solely on external genitalia, which is only one of the factors that in science we use to classify sex. All right. Sex is classified by 5 specific things. It's chromosomes, hormone production, internal, external genitalia, and then why do I always blank on the fifth thing? I think it's reproductive systems, but I always blank on the 5th thing. So doctors are looking at one of those traits and going, well, we think because we assume that they are that everything else is in alignment with this, because typically it tends to be, I won't deny this, but we're going to make an educated guess that this is what your sex is. But they get it wrong. They get it wrong all the time. We know this from intersex conditions, right? You can have somebody born with a condition in which they may, to the doctors, read as male, but actually they're female. Or they may read as female, but actually they're male. So even in this, it's not some concrete objective thing, the way we place people into the sexual categories.
All right. You said quite a lot there, but from the steel man of what you're saying, functionally, we as a society, of course, we make these gender exclusionary roles, or we make these gender roles, but ultimately it comes down to the individual because it's subjective. And it's subjective because it is how the individual feels. And doctors, because they get it wrong all the time, we can't say that that's the exclusionary rule, because if they are wrong, then therefore the rule is faltered. Are you correct? Am I close to steel manning?
Yeah, the rule can't be on something subjective. So the rule couldn't be, we're going to place this rules that okay. Yeah, like I can't, if we're going to talk about biology, right? So if I'm going to say the rule to be in a woman would be some biological trait of being female. I can't say that would be based on a doctor's subjective perception on what you are. Right? It would have to just be about what you objectively are. And doctors can only make a guess unless they're, karyotyping you, which tends to not be the case at birth. It's very rare they karyotype a baby after they're born. So doctors, now we can say, hey, doctors, now we karyotype everybody. But even then it has to be like, okay, well, are we now only saying that chromosomes make you man or woman? Because if that's the case, it's going to get into weird territories, because there are females who are born with XY chromosomes. So they would now break that rule again. So I just say the easiest way I describe it is it is impossible, because of the diversity of sex in the human species. It's like impossible to set a rule for the gender categories man and woman based around some biological trait. It's just impossible to do.
I'll concede that's a fair point. Under my rule, or the rule that I thought I had, I can't exactly argue that. I'll concede on that. So I'll concede on that. Do you want to continue with a separate debate since I've conceded in this, or do you want to go to the next caller?
There's only one other caller. You've only been on the line for like 11 minutes. If there's something else you want to talk about, that's fine.
Well, I'm sorry for that being such a short debate. And it seemed as if it was more of a poking and prodding questions because of my own lack of, I don't know, I'll just say lack of intelligence or ignorance on this point. So I was trying more to just pick your brain, I guess, but I apologize for that. Secondly, though, about Christianity is not, or religion, I'll just say religion is not needed.
Okay, we're not gonna. Well, the topic is there's no reason to believe in Christianity, but like if you don't think religion's needed, then there's not really a disagreement we have on that.
No. I'm saying that's one of the topics on there.
Oh yeah, no, it's just it's not that religion isn't needed. It's just that there's no reason to believe in Christianity.
Can you expand upon that so I can try and have a more understanding, so we can get grounds for the pros and the cons in the debate?
Yeah, Christianity would be the belief that Christ is, whether you're believing he's a prophet, the Messiah, Son of God, God himself, whatever it may be. Christianity would be the belief that this is the case. And I see no concrete reason given by any sort of Christian to substantiate any of that.
Oh, okay. So, from what I've been taught, I I'll give you a little background. Grew up as a Roman Catholic, went over to be a Methodist, got baptized as a Baptist, and went to a Pentecostal church, and that was crazy. But I wouldn't consider myself a Christian. I consider myself a follower of Christ and his teachings. Under that information that I've just given you, the follower of Christ and his teachings, would you say that religiosity is also not needed because it isn't helpful in any way, or do you feel as if that changes because it no longer falls on the purview of religion based upon the Judeo-Christian values of the New and Old Testament?
I think if you're just somebody that goes, hey, I think when Christ talked about like healing the sick and feeding the hungry and feeding the poor, I'm rocking with that. I'm gonna vibe with those teachings. I think that's fine. I don't think this would make you a Christian per se, because tons of people held those same beliefs both before and after Christ. I would say the only way to like really be a Christian is if you are fully in the camp of Christ is a deity and he represents a larger deity in the Christian God. To which my response is again, so just there's no evidence of this.
Yeah. There's no evidence that Christ ever said that he is a God.
Yeah, I don't believe Christ ever affirmed that he was God. I think he always affirmed that he was if he was talking about it, he would always affirm that he was the Son of God. And I don't think there's any evidence of even had Christ said this, there's no evidence that he truly was. I always say I believe in the man. I don't believe in the mysticism. So there's no evidence for the mysticism of Christ, which would lead me to have no reason to believe he's actually a deity of any kind.
Even though he fulfilled all the prophecies in the Old Testament to confirm his deity.
I don't believe he fulfilled anything. And I don't believe the Bible is able to prove that he fulfilled any sort of deity claim.
So when he was crucified and pierced, and when it was saying that he'd be pierced for our transgressions, but he wouldn't have a broken bone in his body, that wouldn't be substantiated?
No. First of all, crucifixion was the most common form for Romans to like get rid of political enemies. Like crucifixion was like pretty common back in the day. So just saying that he would be pierced and then he gets crucified isn't enough for me. Second, there's no evidence that when he was crucified, he didn't have any broken bones. There's no evidence of this. And there's especially no evidence in the resurrection. So because of that, I don't believe in the mysticism.
And as far as the evidence goes for him being pierced in the side by the spear, and that came out was water. And at that time, there was no way to understand why water would have come out. And in the Old Testament, there's nobody that would have understand why there's water come out. But yet it predicted that would happen. That isn't also proof.
No, because we have no evidence that when he was pierced in the side, water actually came out.
So the Roman documentation that was passed down, that isn't proof.
That doesn't come from Roman documentation. It comes from the Gospel of John. Both Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they don't talk about this. This detail is not in any of their Gospels, which are considered the synoptic Gospels. John is the only Gospel that talks about this. There are no Roman records from the time Jesus was crucified. There don't exist any. The only records of Jesus's existence come from the Gospels, and they come from Josephus, and I don't remember the other guy. There's Roman claims that he exists from evidence from like later, but there are none from the crucifixion. We don't have any documents from the Romans about the crucifixion, because they didn't consider Jesus a worthwhile person to document. He was just to them, he wasn't a deity. He was just a commoner that they crucified, like they did hundreds of people.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So this is why I always say there's no proof of the mysticism, because the only proof we have really comes from the Gospels, and there's no I would need. I don't. The Gospels are fine in proving that he was a real person because they meet the burden of proof that any real person at that time would need, which is just multiple sources claiming that you were a person that existed. So I have no problem admitting Jesus existed between the writings of Josephus and the writing of the Gospels. But in order to make the claim that Jesus had there was any mysticism, I need way more than just the Gospels to go off of that.
What would you need?
I would need evidence outside of those. I would need more firsthand accounts. We only have secondhand accounts of Jesus. There are literally no firsthand writings of Christ. So I would need firsthand accounts from people. I would need firsthand accounts from authority powers and firsthand accounts from powers acting in opposition to Jesus. So like if the Romans had like a written record from his crucifixion and we're like, holy shit, dude, this guy came back from the dead. Like if the Romans wrote this along with it, there might be a lot stronger evidence. I would still have a level of skepticism on there might have been something going on here, but there would have been a big burden of evidence. But again, we don't have any written evidence from the period he was alive. The earliest written evidence of Jesus comes 20 years after his death. And that's
why
from
it's called faith, because we don't have any evidence.
Paul, I think that's from the letters. The Paul's letters is yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Because there is only faith, that to me is not a good enough reason to believe in Christianity. So that's why I say there's no reason to believe.
Even if that faith does bring apart miracles that we can see today.
I have not seen any miracles.
Like stigmata that we've seen.
Can you provide me any of these miracles? I personally have not seen a single miracle that can't be explained.
I can't. Well, there are cases of stigmata and stuff along those lines, carryings of people's ailments that just happen. People who have just had cancer and now they don't.
Yeah, but we know that sometimes cancer just goes away, right? This doesn't tell me that it's a miracle, right? Like it could be an unexplainable medical phenomenon, but this doesn't lead me to believe divine miracle, right? That would be a second.
You wouldn't classify that as some sort of miraculous thing that they get prayed over and then suddenly. I understand that cancer can go away. I understand cancer can heal. I'm not inept in that way, but I'm making the point that this individual who had cancer and then gets prayed over now no longer has cancer.
No, because what about the far larger amount of people that had cancer, got prayed over, and then died? So the miracle is that sometimes people can pray over cancer. Like it's not enough. It's not enough to prove any sort of divinity claim. Because what it does essentially is it becomes a God of the gaps argument. It's, hey, this thing was a miracle and we can't explain it, so it must be God, as opposed to one of the other. To give a really great example of this, I had somebody that I was talking to on a live, I think it was yesterday, who was talking, or 2 days ago, who was talking about how his kid had a heart murmur and he prayed and it just magically went away, and that led him to Christ. But like heart murmurs are one of the most common things that when they happen in children and teen, that they go away. Like it's just a thing. And in kids and teens, heart murmurs tend to not be they don't tend to arise from the same reason heart murmurs arise from adults. And so therefore they're not as permanent. So I'm like, you're just using God to fit into a place that you don't have an explanation for. So to me, that's not compelling evidence of a God, right? Because what makes it a Christian God? It could be it could be that happened due to Norse paganism, or that happened due to the God of the Muslim faith, or due to one of the other, like attributing that to the Christian God. Just to me, it doesn't meet that burden of proof.
The Muslim faith believes in the same God. It's just that they have the arguments over Jesus. And I don't want to get that. Sure, but back to the point of the cancer and the healing in the Bible. There's been several cases of Jesus healing individuals, right? And he says, "Get up and walk," and this person would get up and walk, right? But he didn't heal everyone. And you make a very fair point that these people get prayed over, but there are millions of other cases of individuals who pray and nothing happens. And I've known individuals who've lost their faith because they've prayed for things that would seem it would be in the purview of God, and they die. But it comes back to the point. God didn't tell everyone to walk. He just told that one individual to get up and walk.
But so here's the issue with that. Here's the issue with that. We don't know.
Sure.
Again, all of these are secondhand accounts. All of the Gospels are written secondhand. It's not written firsthand. It's not that Matthew is writing about his experience with Jesus. He's writing secondhand. So I don't know that any of these miracles that happen in the Gospel are real. You can look at the fact that John writes about miracles that Matthew, Paul, and Mark never write about. Right? I very much
I'm sorry.
don't. Oh, go ahead.
One second. Sorry. I wasn't bringing up the miracles to show the divinity of Jesus. I was bringing up the miracles in the sense that not everyone was healed. God didn't heal every single leper he came across.
My only response is we don't know that Jesus healed anybody. That's all I mean, is we don't know that he actually healed anybody.
I'm not saying that. But
I'm saying that I can't do the claim that like God, because I don't know that God healed a single soul. So my claim is still pretty strong here in that God's never healed anybody. But I understand that you're saying that if God does heal some people, then he's not going to heal everybody. Like if it is the case that he does heal, we've shown that he doesn't heal every single person that prays to him. Sure, I would just then mark this up to some level of cruelty, right? Like I would say that seems to be a cruel God, which would go against the beliefs in Christianity that God is all good. In which case, I would then posit to say that I reject a reason to believe in this God.
Well, he's not all good. He's all whole. He's one. He's perfection. He can see the beginning and the end, supposedly. So if he can see the beginning and the end, he kind of has to pick and choose what's done in order to fit the grand scheme of things, right?
I would very much argue that the Bible labels God as an all good, all moral being,
an all perfect being. It can't say that God's an all good being when, if you look in the Old Testament, what was that? These kids were like making fun of a crippled, and God sent bears and killed all those children.
No, it was worse. They made fun of a bald man.
Oh, bald! That's it. That's crazy, man. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. I apologize. But I don't think it could ever claim that God is all good and loving, because if you're just loving, then no. I guess to me, I know it doesn't outwardly claim it. Yes, you're right. The Bible doesn't outwardly make claims that God is this all moral being. It just tends to be the way he's described by Christians and Christianity as a whole. Yeah. Yeah, they tend to describe God in this way. Well, I'm never going to be able to argue into faith, and I didn't mean to come in here and to argue with that. I just once again was trying to poke and prod and see a little bit more, see where I can learn more, because you honestly have, I would say, changed the way that I have viewed the Bible. And because I've been watching your show for a while, my partner and I, we found your show, man, like a year ago. And I've never called in, but it's changed the way I viewed about trans individuals. And I've racked my brain around the ideas, because I'm not just somebody who accepts things very easily. And you've led me to do my own research, and that's why I wanted to call about the trans debate. And I think you really have changed my opinion on trans men and women being men and women. That last little bit was the last little thing I was holding on to in my brain. But you've also changed how I viewed the Bible, because I used to view it as completely factually accurate. And after doing a lot of my own research, it's just not true. A lot of it has been changed. For instance, when it says about gay people, that was changed. That wasn't true. It didn't say about homosexuality. It was talking about having sex with children, male children, that is. So a lot of it has changed. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm not great at debating, but I think I did okay.
Yeah, I had no issues with the call. I think it was a good call.
Yeah, and you've helped me out, and I just want to thank you so much. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm not trying to waste your time, but I'll call in the future to see if there's anything more I need to kind of like learn or do. I'm sorry I can't afford your Patreon or anything like that. I just don't have the money.
All good, friend. All good.
So yeah. All right. Well, I know. I mean, no offense to this, but I'll be praying for you.
Okay.
All right. Bye, man.
Bye-bye. All right. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. If you have hangups and you're not too sure, you call in, you get some more information. Man, I feel like my theist debates have gotten so much better. Like, I feel like I've gotten, like, the understanding of the Gospels, I think, is the linchpin, at least for me, to breaking down theist calls and theist arguments. Because it really is. It's just like, give me some sort of evidence, and then that's where we're at. What's in a name? Thank you for subscribing on with your Amazon Prime over on Twitch. Taylor, thank you for the Venmo. Shout out to Taylor for the Venmo. I said you can get it gay at the exact same time as you winning. That's funny. Yeah. It makes me laugh. If anybody else wants to call in, we only have one other caller on the line. So if anybody else wants to give a call, the call lines are open now. So, feel free. Let me come up with a title for that last one. I know chat sometimes gets bored of it, but man, do I love debating theism lately. Golly, do I like theism debates. It's just fun. It just really is fun, dude. They're just fun. For me, I don't know what it is. They're just so they're so that's what it is. Theism debates are what gender and sex debates used to be for me. Gender and sex debates for me used to be super stimulating. And then I sort of I've not heard a transphobe be able to give like a relevant argument in a while. Best Zelda game is Breath of the Wild. And now theism debates to me are the ones that stimulate me a bit more. The theism debates really keep me, they keep me young. Anyone who doesn't agree with my Breath of the Wild take, sorry, you're wrong. It's absolutely Breath of the Wild is the best Zelda game. Fuzzy Logic, thank you for the tip. Joe should call into the line or RFR sometime. I think Joe should call into the line, but my question is who? Because I wouldn't want Joe to have to get stuck with like Jimmy or Matt when they're annoyed. That would suck. They go a little hard on Joe. Joe don't deserve all that. Joe seems like a good noodle. Anyone who thinks Breath of the Wild has no substance has not played Breath of the Wild the right way. Sorry. I like Ocarina of Time. I love Majora's Mask. I love Wind Waker more than life itself. Breath of the Wild is still more fun than all of those games. I'm not, but I want to play Dispatch. Maybe that's should we play Dispatch on stream? If after this last call, play Dispatch? I've wanted to play it. I think, okay, let me put it this way. If I had to choose my favorite Zelda story, it's Majora's Mask every time. Favorite story is Majora's Mask. But when I'm talking about the best game, it's what game is the most fun. And for me, that's Breath of the Wild. I've put more time into Breath of the Wild than any other Zelda game, and it's not even close. It's not even comparable. I'll absolutely play Dispatch after this last call. This is the last call we have, so I'll absolutely play Dispatch after it. That being said, Tears of the Kingdom is trash. Oh man, do I not like Tears of the Kingdom comparatively to Breath of the Wild? Breath of the Wild is a what makes a good game? To me, it's what is the most fun, and Breath of the Wild is more fun than any other Zelda game. I also think Breath of the Wild is my favorite world. I think it's the best designs of all the species, and it's my favorite world to live in. Like, there's a reason why, and we finally got it. Oh my God, I'm finally putting work into my Zelda manga. And next year, there is going to be Jovan Zelda manga is coming out next year. Like, as long as everything keeps progressing the way it's progressing. And that world, to me, is so much more stimulating. Why am I using the word stimulating so much? That world is just so much more interesting, like, than almost any other world, in my opinion, in Zelda games. Anyway, let's bring in the last caller. We have up Samuel. Samuel wants to talk about being pro-life, so let's bring Samuel up here. Samuel, hello. Can you provide me your age and pronouns, please?
Hello. I'm 18 and I'm a man.
Okay, so what are your pronouns, Samuel?
Him, because I'm a man.
Great. I just want to make sure you're able to answer questions directly, Samuel. Like, it's not that hard. Samuel, you are pro-life. Why? So let me just ask a prefacing question here. Do you believe abortion should be illegal?
Yeah, I think murder should be illegal.
Okay, that's not what I asked you. I said, do you think abortion should be illegal?
That is
not
correct.
Murder.
That is exactly. Yes, I think the form of murder called abortion should be legal.
Okay.
Illegal.
Define murder for me.
Well, legal murder, like the legal term of murder, or how I personally use murder.
Well, I would hope that if we're talking about murder, which is a legal thing, we're talking about the legal term.
The illegal killing of the unlegal killing of someone, of a person.
Okay, so then if I go to like New York where abortion's legal and I have an abortion, it's not murder because it's not unlawful.
No, not legally. No, it's not legally murder, of course.
Great.
I mean, no, it's not legally murder.
So justify to me, Samuel, justify to me why we should make abortion illegal.
Because it's murder. Do you think so? You believe that unjustified killing of a human being should be legal?
Do I think an unjustified killing should be legal? No, I don't think an unjustified killing
Is that what
should
you're
be
saying?
legal. I think unjustified killings of humans should probably not be legal. Did you catch all that, Samuel?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me now? I couldn't hear you. I mean, there was nothing there.
Okay, I said that the unjustified killing of humans should probably not be legal.
Probably not. Okay. All right. So we agree that you shouldn't kill your baby and that shouldn't be legal. We agree.
The difference is I think most abortions are justified.
So you think how are they justified? I don't understand.
Because if you no longer consent to something being inside of you, I think you have the right to take it out. And if you take it,
you consented it. You consented.
Samuel, do you want to hear my answer or do you want to just go on your script? If you want to hear my answer, you have to actually listen to it. No.
I mean, normally when people take a break after speaking, it means they're done.
Okay, what was my response, Samuel? What was my response, Samuel? No. Tell me what my answer was.
I forgot.
Yeah. So how can you respond to my answer if you didn't listen?
I was responding in your answer. I was in the moment, and you said, "Oh, you got to let me respond." As I was actively responding, as you had finished talking.
So I'll restate my answer. So maybe this time you'll be able to listen. Right. I think if a person does not consent to something being inside of their body, they have the express right to take it out because they no longer consent to it being in their body.
Can you repeat that? I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I'll repeat it again. If a person does not consent to something being inside of their body and using their bodily resources in a way that they don't want them to, they have the express right to remove it.
Said when they had sex.
What did you say?
do it something. Where's the angle of any physical activity?
The Kmart connection's not helping right now. I don't know if you're connected to Wi-Fi. I would disconnect. Because can't nobody understand what you're saying. You sound like a robot. And not the cool kind like Wally.
What? Okay. All right. So you can hear me? You understand me?
Sounds the same.
So you can understand me?
Not really.
Are you able to make out what I'm saying? I mean, it might be choppy, but are you able to make out what I'm saying?
It sounds a little better now.
Are you able to make out what I'm saying now? Or is it just completely able to answer questions?
I can pick out some words, Samuel.
So,
Hello?
all right, is that better?
That is better, yes.
Hello, is that better?
Yep.
All right. Well, what?
I said it's better, yes.
And you didn't say anything else?
Did I say anything else? No, I had answered your question.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's clear that when you have sex, it is consenting. The end goal of sex is to have a baby. No matter what you're doing, that act is to produce a baby.
Maybe the way you do it, but not the way I have sex. But whether it is or isn't
Okay, so
consent, whether the purpose of sex is to make a baby or not, you can still remove consent.
So no, you can't remove consent because once you produce that life, removing consent is killing it.
Yeah.
Correct. Removing the consent would be killing it. Correct. Okay.
Yes,
so it is
because
murder.
it's not viable. No,
Kill
because
me.
the removal is justified. So it wouldn't be murder.
But it is killing it. The removal is killing it.
You will kill it because it's not viable, so it can't live outside the womb. Yes, but it's a justified killing, so therefore it is not murder. I don't know if those words are a bit difficult for you. And he's gone, which I assumed was going to happen because that connection was fucking terrible. Okay, whatever. Fisto Roboto, thank you for subscribing for your 3rd month over on Twitch. Zoe Starwind, thank you for subscribing with your Amazon Prime for your 7th month. And Fisto Roboto, thank you for gifting out 3 subs to the community over on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for supporting the stream. That was embarrassing. Somebody else is calling in, so we'll see what that caller is or wants before we move on to the next. Clearly, that call was a nothing burger. I'm going to open my window, get some air in here. Godly. It'll change the light a little bit, but... Oh, that's why. What the hell? No, it's actually, oh, it changed the light a lot of it. It made me brighter. It's actually bright outside, or it's warm outside. So actually, I had to close the window. That's what was happening. The window was letting in warm air. Okay, guess we have another call. How long have I been streaming for? Oh, 2.5 hours. So yeah, so this will be the last call, and then we'll, if you're still watching over on Twitch, we're gonna play Dispatch. So this will be the last call until then. Coming up next, we have Jimmy. Now, Jimmy doesn't think trans men and women are men and women, so we're gonna find out what he actually thinks. Jimmy, can you provide me your age and pronouns, please?
Hi, Jovan. I'm 25, pronouns he, him.
Okay. And Jimmy, you don't think trans men and women are men and women, so could you just define for me what you believe men and women to be?
I believe a woman is anyone who was a child who was with a vagina, who then grew up to become what society would call a woman.
So it's somebody who's born with a vagina that grows up to be labeled a woman in the broader societal sense.
Yes, correct.
What if they're born with vaginal agenesis, so they don't have vaginas?
If they're born with vaginal agenesis, I would say, and I need to explain this, otherwise the argument's not going to make sense. I would say if a trans person, in a similar case to someone born with vaginal agenesis, if they are raised, particularly as a teenager, because before you're a teenager, you don't really, it's not required to be raised with the gender role. But by the time you become a teenager, that's when you're going to get a gender role. If, subjectively, of course, but if a trans girl was to be raised to be a woman as a teenager, I would consider that to be a woman, but I would not consider an adult that transitions to be a woman.
So what's the necessary condition then to be a woman? What is necessary for somebody to have then? It's just to have that experience of being raised as a girl or woman prior to being a teenager?
Yes.
Why?
And then as an adult, if they're trans, they would have to get the surgery.
So if I had an instance of like a girl who's born to like a really misogynistic dad who raises her like a boy, who's just like, I'm raising you like a boy because I wish you were a boy. And he basically ignores all the female aspects, all the girl aspects about her. Would she be considered a man when she gets older?
If she doesn't have a vagina, then sure.
Why would the vagina change that? Like, I'm confused why the vagina changes this rule.
Because the vagina is what would define womanhood, giving birth, that type of thing.
Is the vagina, so the vagina to you is a gender specific attribute, not a sex specific
indicator,
attribute?
yes, but not a strict, not a 100% strict qualification, because as you mentioned, there are exceptions. So it is not a what do you call it, a binding rule.
Okay, so this is what I'm just provide me again your necessary condition. I want to write it down because it's seeming a bit confusing, or not confusing, seeming a bit like convoluted to me. So could you just provide me your necessary condition one more time? What is necessary to be a woman?
Okay, the necessary condition is to be raised as the gender that you are as a teenager, and then as an adult, if you do not have the genitals that match that gender, then you would have to pursue getting those genitals. And if you try
so
to
you're providing two. Okay. Two. So the necessary conditions. No. It doesn't need to be one, but your two necessary conditions kind of conflict with each other. So it's to be raised as the gender you are as a teenager, which just feels a little circular. So to be like, what do you mean by to be raised as the gender you are?
Essentialism. You need to pursue the physical aspect as well as the mental aspect.
Yeah, but what do you mean by that? Like, so it's just being raised as your internal sense of gender?
Well, let me ask you this, right? Do you believe in objective truth, right?
I believe there are some objectively true things. Sure. No, I don't believe there's any objective truths to social categories, no.
Well, essentially, I think you could make the argument, and it would not necessarily be incorrect, that trans women are women. However, since it's a subjective argument, you can also say that they are not, just based off the rule of how the majority of society feels.
So the majority of society dictates whether or not someone's a man or a woman?
Yes.
Okay, so if the majority of society tomorrow said, hey, Jimmy, you are a woman, you would have to concede to that and go, yes, I am a woman.
Yes, I would.
Even though you know you're not a woman.
Well, yeah. Because
Even
by
if
the
you were
nature
raised
of
as
the
a,
argument, that would
even
be
if you were
the case.
raised as a boy, your whole life, you were raised as a boy and then you grew into a man. Just because society dictates, hey,
Well, no.
Jimmy, we all believe you're a
If I
woman.
was raised as a girl, then yes.
No. I mean, like right now. You said society dictates it. So if society all decided tomorrow, Jimmy, you are a woman, you would agree that you're a woman.
Well, if that's the way society works, then yes.
You no, but I'm not asking you. You believe this is the way society currently works?
Well, I'm saying that the way society works is transgender people are purposely excluded off of a bias, and I think that's correct and should be maintained that way.
Why should it be maintained that way?
Because I believe the mere existence of trans people being able to express themselves is damaging the current Western hierarchy.
What's the hierarchy?
The hierarchy would essentially be white men on top, although I don't necessarily agree with that part. I just think it should be men on top, and then it would just break down in a pyramid of who has the most rights in society. But I think it should be based off of a Christian worldview.
And how
But
specifically?
But Christianity doesn't necessarily have to mean anything either. It could be
Wait,
based off
how
an Islamic worldview,
specifically?
and
How
it's equal to
specifically are trans people ruining this hierarchy?
No, because a trans person, right, or a trans woman specifically, is going to be, a cis man who's then going to remove their place in society, their privileges they've taken, and then turn themselves into a different thing, which by its own nature is going to disrupt the entire system.
Why is that bad?
Because this is the system that I personally favor. It's not objectively bad.
Why do you favor this system?
Because it benefits me.
So the reason why trans women shouldn't be considered women or treated like women is because it would mean that you would lose some sort of societal benefit being a white cisgender man.
Yes.
Okay, well, can I tell you something, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely hope bad things happen to you, and I hope today you experience something negative in your life. I don't wish to continue this conversation. I hope you eat shit. See you. I don't debate fucking essentially Nazis, dude. Like, get fucked, bro. Fuck you. I don't think anybody should have... I don't think trans people should have fucking equal access because it would mean I would suffer as a white man. Fuck out of here. I'm not gonna fucking engage with that bullshit. The fuck? Get fucked. Truthfully. Oh my god, my living dex is basically complete. I have like 4 Pokemon I have to trade to evolve. But other than that, 231 Pokemon seen, 224 caught. What am I missing? Yeah, you definitely wouldn't fucking suffer. Like, this idea that trans people succeeding means that you have to suffer is fucking bullshit. All right, let's do our super chats. Then we're gonna go play Dispatch over on Twitch. So let's do our super chats. First and foremost, super chat coming in from Fuzzy Logic said Trump's favorite song is YMCA and his only dance move is the double heej. Dude is clearly on the DL. Y'all saw it where Trump's like, Very clear. Dark City said, no wonder Trump hates Hillary. He wants her man. Oh my God. Are we in the middle of a love triangle? Wowie. Good for Trump, I guess. Getting his I guess good for Bill Clinton getting his nut. From Frost King said, do you think Trump hides in couches for Vance? Holy shit. Could that be? I don't know. Vance went from hating the guy to loving the guy, so something happened. Mar-a-Lago. From General Sar said, if I had a nickel for every time there was a Bill Clinton BJ scandal, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice. So real, bro. So real, bro. So real. Discord link is broken. Could we get a mod to post the Discord link in YouTube chat? Just a reminder, Discord is only for people who are either subs on Twitch or members on YouTube. But yeah. From Lightglyph said, Trump said he drained the swamp. Didn't think it'd be Bill. He's draining them. From William said, would you ever have some wine with the I've had it ladies and teach them about communism? Who's the I've had it ladies? Who's that? Oh, it's a podcast? Who are these? Jennifer Welch and Angie Pump Sullivan, and a special guest on I've Had It, and let this community feel good podcast expose all the things you didn't know you had it with. Shit, tell them to bring me on, so I'll do a whole I've Had It with Capitalism episode. Never heard of them before, but it's fine. General Sar also said, can we start calling them the Trump files? The other guy isn't around anymore, so might as well call it what it most likely is. I just still think the Epstein files are the best way to describe them. From Frost King again, Frost King said, I get why Trump loves his big, beautiful bill. Funny every time. From Rezwan said, can you please demonstrate what Trump did to Clinton on me? I'm very confused. I'm a visual learner. No. That one felt a little weird, friend. From Agents Miskatonic said, Jovan, I need to reclaim some of our honor. Not all Johns are this stupid and hateful. Yeah, but we had a couple really not so all there Johns today. From Zoe Gates said, goddamn, Jovan, I love you. Love you too, Zoe. Thanks for watching the show. From Lando Productions said, hey, Jovan, I look up to you heavily and I look up to left-wing debaters. I wish to be one someday and agree with everything you say. Do you have any advice for future left-wing debaters? Start debating random people on, like, I don't think Omegle exists anymore, but, you know, like, find your way to just start throwing arguments out there. Don't do it on a platform until you really nail down your arguments, because it can just make things worse. From Dark Silver Cloud said, Jesus never claims to be God. I believe this as well. There's a passage in John that is often misinterpreted. It's the one where he says, I am he, right? Jesus claims to be a possessor of the divine name, giving him power and authority, but not that he is God. Yeah, I agree with this as well. Fuzzy Logic said, you heard it here first, folks. Jimmy wants to be on top of black men. That could go for a lot of Jimmys we know, couldn't it? Ayo. And then Rose said, as a trans woman, thanks for standing up for us. Hey, no problem, Rose. Thank you guys on YouTube for watching the show. If you want to continue the show, we are going to be over on Twitch. We're going to play Dispatch. Dispatch is a choose your own. It's made by the guys who used to have Telltale. So we're going to play Dispatch. I'm going to do that over on Twitch. So come and hang out with us over on Twitch if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that, then I will see you tomorrow. I have my show with Jimmy in the evening. So we'll be here tomorrow for Calling It Now. I'm trying to convince Jimmy to let us do a larger topic board. So hopefully we can do that. But we'll be here for Calling It Now. I don't know if I'll have my own stream tomorrow. I'm not sure, but join us for that if you want. Instead, by YouTube, you guys you didn't read my super chat. Did you send one, Tyson? Oh yeah, you did. My apologies, Tyson. Said wanting Subway is the craziest thing. Said this stream, especially for someone who lives in a state with Publix chicken tender sandwiches. I don't like Publix chicken tenders. Gonna be for real with you. You know what the best chicken tenders in Florida are, though? The ones at Disney World. I don't know what it is. I don't know what kind of cocaine they put in their chicken tenders at Disney World. Them things hit. But thank you guys again for watching the stream. Come on over to Twitch if you want to join us for gaming. Yeah. Thanks, YouTube. See you later. Bye-bye. Where will it be streamed tomorrow? What, Calling It Now? That's streamed on Jimmy's channel. So that's at Jimmy Snow.